Okay, good afternoon. I'm Amy Pontius. I am the VP of Membership Services and Marketing here with the PAA. Today we've invited the National Apartment Association to do a webinar on Click and Lease and their new program, Click and Comply. Today's session should help with any questions you have about the virtual leasing program that NAA offers. Today, we do have some polls that we wanted to start for the participants on the call. So you should have a poll on your screen, and it asks, are you a member of the National Apartment Association? So if you'll just take a minute to fill that out, and we'll get the results on the screen for you. Joining us on the call today is Erica. She is our Manager of Membership Services and Marketing with PAA. She's our behind the scenes person, and I love that she is able to help us with all of these polls and getting all of this information to our members. So thank you, Erica, very much. We also have with us from the National Apartment Association. We have Quay with us from the National Apartment Association, and Heidi Rooney with us from 24/7 Leonardo. Erica, how's our poll coming? We have about 73% of people voting so far.
Great.
So I think I'm okay with that number to share it, because we have one more question for you before we get fully started.
Yeah.
And the poll there. So as many, you want to take it over, Amy?
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. So a lot of you do know that it looks like if you are a member of the Pennsylvania Apartment Association, you are also a member of the National Apartment Association. So those of you that said no, we hope that you choose to be a member of PAA or NAA. And if you didn't know, if you are a member of PAA, you are definitely a member of NAA. So that's great. Thank you all, and welcome to the webinar. Erica, why don't you hit up our next question for the gang? So how many of you are currently using Click and Lease right now? So take a minute to fill that out, just so we can let our presenters today know how many people are using the program. So let's see where we're at with the poll. See how many people answered the question.
Yep. Hold on one second. I'll share that.
Okay, so we do have some users on, some that aren't, some that kind of don't know, maybe some that want to be, which is great. This call will help answer any questions that you have. And I know that NAA, if there's questions that need to be answered after, they said they could also follow up with you as well. So thank you for participating. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Nicholas Tovar at NAA, who will take over and share his screen and begin the presentation. Just as a reminder, don't forget, if you have any questions during this presentation, please use the Q&A button to give those to us. That's where Nicholas will be pulling your questions from and answering them, hopefully live today. If not, he will get back to you. Thanks, Nicholas.
Thank you. All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Amy, Erica, Marlon, PAA. Thank you, everybody, for having us on today. We're very excited. For those of you who can't see my webcam, it gave me an excuse to put on a collared shirt. So I'm sure my wife thanks you for that. I also use the last of my gel to put down my hair for the day. So for anybody that has that feature and wants to see my wonderful look, feel free. As Amy said, we are very excited to present Click and Lease and also a new feature of our gold standard for Click and Lease, which is our Click and Comply program. I think everybody's here is a little bit familiar with Click and Lease. Today, we are the industry standard for leasing. And when I say that, I mean, we have over 10 million units as NAA, and 6 million units actually participate in our program from that number. Now, Kwena Wagu is going to go into that a little bit more in her presentation, but we also have a new feature that I mentioned, which is Click and Comply. I'm going to share a screen in a second. Well, actually, one of my colleagues, Heidi Rooney, is. But what Click and Comply is basically your single source of communication for all things operation. It's going to help you guys become more efficient, reduce costs, and kind of, consolidate everything into one place for convenience, ease of use, and saving time. So who I have presented today is myself. Again, my name, Nick Tovar, Director of Sales at NAA. We're going to have Heidi Rooney, who is a National Sales Account Manager with Leo. Now, NAA has partnered with Leo to create Click and Comply. And in there, you'll find everything I just said, but also NAA best practices, which are exclusive to the NAA membership. And then right after her presentation, we're going to jump right into Click and Lease, which Kwena Wagu will walk you through. And I'll jump in here and there to help fill in any gaps. So Heidi, if you don't mind sharing your screen, telling us a little bit about yourself and jumping into the presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just figuring out how I can share my screen. I don't see the option.
Okay.
Maybe if you could just give me.
Heidi, it should be at the bottom of your toolbar.
It was in the beginning, and it's not there anymore.
Well, how about this? How about I share my screen, which has the Click and Comply up, and then you can just kind of let me know when you want the new slide.
Okay, fair enough.
Does that work?
Works for me.
All right. Can everybody see the presentation?
Not yet, Nick.
Not yet? All right.
Here it comes. It's coming.
Oh, now I have the option to share my screen. All right, I'm going to take it. It'll just be easier. That was weird. Can everyone see my screen?
We can see it. Yep.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to PAA. Thank you so much for having us. We are really excited to share the Click and Comply. First off, I hope everyone's families, residents, and team members are all staying safe and healthy right now. As Nick mentioned, Click and Comply allows property management companies to consolidate processes and systems into one place for ease of use and transparency. For the purpose of today's call, I'm going to be discussing how we can help you and everyone on site operate more efficiently, mitigate risk through preventative maintenance, streamline communication, which is extremely important right now, and provide one single source of direction in real time for everyone to follow. I believe Erica said in the beginning, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box, and we can yield those and field those as we go. If you'd like a private demo for you and your company afterwards, please feel free to reach out to Nick, and he will be sure to get that scheduled with you and your team. Alrighty, so can everyone see the Smart Task Automation wheel on the screen right now?
Hey, we're getting the presenter's view. Is there any way you could switch to full view?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem.
You must be on my small screen though. Let's just do it this way. You would think I do this all the time. I'm just not used to Zoom. Still doing it.
Do you have two screens
All right,
by
there.
chance?
Yeah, we'll just do it this way. Got it. Better?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay, wonderful. As you all can see by looking at this smart task automation wheel, Click and Comply will offer you a ton of functionality. We'll be covering each component in more detail as I go through the presentation, but before we get too far into the weeds, I want to make sure everyone on the call understands the why of Click and Comply. First off, we are not just another system to throw at your teams. In fact, our goal is to be your one-stop shop for everything best practices and operations by replacing some of the systems that are perhaps less efficient and more costly. There are several benefits to partnering with Click and Comply, some of which are shown here. You see here on the right, improved performance. We help our customers improve performance on site by delivering the daily guidance and tools the teams need to be successful. Mitigating risk. By implementing a proactive risk mitigation platform like Click and Comply, you will drastically minimize your exposure to risk. So much so that some international insurance brokers have been able to negotiate up to 20% reduction in premiums for our clients just by using Click and Comply at their properties, which, by the way, more than pays for this. If you're interested in learning more about that, we can certainly connect you with Nick again after this call. And streamlining communications. I think we can all relate to that right now, working from home. Nonstop emails and text messages and Zoom meetings between leadership and on-site teams are not only annoying and time-consuming, but the constant back and forth invites a lot of confusion and inconsistency. How many policy changes have you all had in the last 5 weeks with COVID? We can certainly help we can certainly help everyone within your organization stay on point by providing clear direction, consistency, and visibility during and post-COVID-19. And lastly, asset preservation. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of focus on residents and leasing in our industry, which is definitely important. But sometimes mission-critical items required to maintain an asset often fall through the cracks. Click and Comply digitizes your company's best practices and also with NAAs and pushes them out to the right properties at the right time, ensuring that your multi-million-dollar asset you are managing is given the attention it deserves. Some of you may be thinking that your property management software does this already. Allow me to walk everyone through this visual right here that you see on the screen and explain how we will complement your property management software. Property management software such as Yardi, RealPage, Entrata, MRI, Appfolio, Resman, they all do a great job of managing what we like to refer to here on the left as the resident life cycle. They handle your leads, marketing, CRM, they screen residents, online rent payments, leases, etc. But there's an entirely other world outside of that for operations, and we like to refer to that as the asset life cycle, albeit inspections, code compliance, workflows, operational tasks. What we've found is that a lot of companies are handling the other world or the asset life cycle through Outlook reminders, spreadsheets, dare I say, property binders, and you all may be chuckling or laughing because you can relate, or maybe some of you have graduated to a Google Sheet that's in real time. But up until now, there hasn't been one single source of communication to push this out to your team. So how do you get there? Most of you on the call today have some form of best practice at your company that you're expected to follow or your teams are expected to follow. And they fall into several different buckets that you see here on the screen, such as maintenance, operations, marketing, training, you name it. And they all include some sort of action item. But I think it's fair for you all to assume that you're not able to perform this to the best of your ability without specific guidance and automation. Maybe you have a new hire who doesn't know your company's way of doing business, or maybe you're too busy with another task or a resident to train them that day. How will they know what to do? By combining your policies and procedures with NAA's database of best practices, Click and Comply provides a single source of daily guidance for you and your on-site teams while offering real-time visibility into what's happening or not happening at your properties. Where do we start? Well, once you've decided to move forward with Click and Comply, we'll start by accessing all your policies and procedures, and we want to collect everything you have. For the following 2 weeks after that, our team of experts will review your policies line by line. We'll go through and identify any action item you have within those policies, and then we aggregate them into a simple format for your review. With NAA's consultative approach, we will review each task and make recommendations based on what we've seen work and not work with other clients. Keep in mind, you only want to include those action items that are truly worth tracking. You know, we're not going to put things in there, water the plants, check your email, or smile every day because, well, let's face it, your teams will hate us both. But we do want to recommend having some tasks for those properties for new managers or maintenance supervisors, such as lock up the golf cart at night, or pull availability reports, accounting month end. Once these items are ready, we can then take the training wheels off and remove the novice tasks from the property. After determining which action items you want to use in Click and Comply, we will collect all of your existing inspection forms, logs, checklists, and we'll digitize them, making it a seamless transition for you and your teams. We have and as Nick said in the beginning, largest library of forms for you to use if you need them. Sometimes companies don't have best practices or standard operating procedures, and that's okay, and that's where NAA can help. So after we've gathered everything you need, we customize it into your Click and Comply platform. Excuse me. We will build custom templates and forms that you can propagate across all of your properties in your portfolio. Whether you have 10 properties or 350 properties, it really does not matter. We can handle it. I'll be able to highlight this in a live environment in just a couple of seconds, but in addition to all the expectations, what really keeps your teams at night is staying on top of code. NAA's Click and Comply software has a machine learning tool that has looked at over 3,000 sources that house federal, state, city, and municipal codes. I know the Pennsylvania Apartment Association does a great job of updating you on when these codes change, but let's face it, sometimes some of these can fall through the cracks even after you've been reminded. We've trained it not only to identify and capture compliance codes that govern real estate, but also monitor those codes for changes based on city, state, and zip code at your properties. Now we can help your teams avoid any costly violation in case they forget. So how is it that we make sure all of your properties receive all the right tasks at the right time? We go through an arduous setup with you, and we will capture a property profile that includes all the different amenities on site. We understand not every property is the same. So we want to look at the equipment, such as boiler, HVAC, fire pump. We also want to know little things like, what kind of software are you using? Are you in an area that's at a risk for flood, or maybe a hurricane? Are there affordable units at your property? Is this a Section 236? And once all these templates and properties are set up, for the first time ever, your teams will have a single custom solution for everything operations. I'd like to stop here. Has anyone chatted any questions so far? I haven't had a chance to take a look.
Not yet.
I've been checking and I don't see any.
Okay. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the actual software and just give everyone a sneak peek of what this would look like. So what we're viewing right here, this is a software. You are seeing Leonardo 24/7 name right here, but know that we have partnered completely with NAA, and this will be white labeled as the Click and Comply product for you. This is device and browser agnostic, So whether you work on a Mac or a PC or an iPhone or a Droid, there's an app that you download when you become a partner. And everybody gets their own username and password. It's a complete permission-based system. I am logged in here as a regional manager, and I'm looking at one particular property called Avalon Hills. So as I kind of went through and showed you really, really quickly how we build out your best practices, customize the forms, and through our algorithm are able to push them out to the right properties at the right time, when your teams or yourself logs in every single day, you will see exactly what's expected of you, and it will push out the top 10 things, which you're looking at right now at your workspace, based on criticality, which you see here in the red, and based on due date. So I can see that I've got to review the nightly security patrol log today, for example. As you go through and complete these, whether it's on a mobile device or a desktop, you will be able to just go in very simply, check off the box, and now we've taken, let me go ahead and clear this out, apologize. We have taken your manual inspection form and completely digitized it in a format that's, very, very simple to use. And now your teams can custom query or report against this, making sure that you're always in compliance with your company's standard operating procedures or preventative maintenance schedule. If there's repairs to the structure, great, I've got to go through and say, if not, I can simply move on. Once this has been finished, you have the ability to add photos. You go ahead and you click finish. You can add any notes. You can choose to copy a supervisor, which will automatically send an email to them, reducing the time that you would have to create an email and then send it. If you're with certain property management softwares, we can create work orders and integrate directly into them, if that's something that you choose. But once I mark this as completed, it will immediately fall off the workspace, and the next important task that appeared, that is due for the day or week, will appear here on the workspace. This is a great tool to keep you all organized, especially when you are expected to be experts in everything on site. I want to show you all just really quickly, and then I'll pass it over to you, Nick. We've got this great section as well called workflows. So the workspace is where you'll see all tasks that have a due date. And when we set this up with your company, we really want to look at a year at your property. What do you have to do to winterize the property? What do you have to do to get ready for the spring? What's your pool schedule look like? What's your quarterly inspections look like? These are the sort of things we want to build in with due dates in the workspace. There's a section down here called workflow, where envision this as if it's an ad hoc, right? These are processes or things that happen on site, but there may not be a due date, but it's very important that you follow a consistent process. And I like to use the incident report here because we all know they happen. And one manager may have one way of doing it, where a sister property may do it a completely different way. Well, with Click and Comply, what you're able to do now is digitize that entire process to make sure everybody does it consistently, and you gather all the information in one uniform fashion. Again, help stay in that compliance, which is what the goal is here. And Click and Comply will be able to customize this form. And I apologize if I'm going very fast, but I want to get through all of this for you. Once you click complete or finish, we can create the distribution. So if you need to go to a regional or risk manager or an insurance company, we can automate that process for you because you've got important things to do versus managing incident reports, all day long. Another great example would be a REAC inspection or maybe a maintenance inspection. Just know that there's all custom reporting. There's dashboard views for those regionals or VPs so they can see very quickly how their portfolios are performing, who's in compliance, who's not. Green is good, red is bad. And all of this is drillable. So we can see what's going on here in Philly, and we can jump right into this particular properties workspace from here. There's lots of other bells and whistles that are available with Click and Comply as far as document storage goes, tracking vendor contracts, housing all your instructions at a property, and being able to search that so simply. But I think that was enough of an overview to get everybody interested. And I think if anyone would like another demo that would go more into detail where we can do more back and forth communication, please feel free to reach out to Nick Tovar, who you see here on the video, and he will be able to set that up with you all. And I really appreciate your time and attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Heidi, for putting that all together for us. We really appreciate the information and everything provided. What I do want to reiterate to everybody in the group is this helps keep everybody on the same page. And I think what's important to say is that going forward, as more policies and procedures are created, given kind of the situation that we're in today, it's more important than ever to make sure that all the properties are on the same page, they're following the correct procedures that the management company wants out. And this not only helps today, but will also help management companies in the future make sure that their operations are running smoothly. So we really want to, this is part of our gold standard for NAA Click and Lease. And what we heard from the members is that they really wanted a risk mitigation tool that was available. This is one of the answers that we came up with. It is used across the US from Greystar, Bozzuto, Alliance, Solomon, Excelsior Group. I can go on and on about the list of management companies that already take advantage of Leo 24/7. The great thing, as Heidi mentioned before, is that we have partnered with them. We are actually putting in the NAA best practices. This will be known as Click and Comply, and it's going to be available to everybody starting in May. So if you have any questions, again, if you want to see anything further, reach out to myself. Happy to answer, set up a separate demo where we can actually take a little bit more time and go into more features, or just let anybody at PAA know, and they know a way to find me. Next, we're going to move into Click and Lease. Obviously, I think everybody here knows it's a well-known platform. Today, it is the industry standard. It is the most widely used lease form. And presenting will be Kwe Nawagu. Kwe, let me know when you're ready to share your screen, and you can take it from there. I think you're on mute.
Can you see my screen?
We can see your screen.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, PA, for putting this on. We hope that you are keeping safe. And so I will be talking about Click and Lease. Again, my name is Kwe Nawagu. I am the sales account manager at NAA. I primarily work with management companies like yourself to walk you through the ordering process, answer any questions, and provide pricing for Click and Lease. So I specifically work and sell Click and Lease. So if you have any questions at the end of this, I can definitely set up a call to discuss Click and Lease more specific to your management company, and also assist with setting up a demo so that you can see how the program looks like.
As I kind of mentioned before, there's kind of a couple different components here. What we wanted to share for most of you guys who may only work in Pennsylvania, I believe Amy pointed to this earlier. Once you're a member of your local or state affiliate, you're a member of the National Apartment Association. To date, we work with about 155 state and local affiliates, over 82,000 members, and we just crossed 10 million units last year. So, and I think it was December that we made it to our goal for the year. But, not only do you get to take advantage of the state and local resources, but we also have a great team at National willing to lend a hand, whether it has to do with public policy, our different member benefits, or if you just want to use us as a resource, we're more than happy to help. If you look, Kwe, if you go to the next slide here, why members join? There's a couple different reasons. I'm sure PAA can go over theirs, not only joining the state and the local resources that they provide you, But again, you'll get to become a member of the national. I think the biggest part of this right now is when you take advantage of the Click and Lease program, you not only help your state and local, but you also help fund some of our national initiatives. And I think that's important to say today, because right now our advocacy is taking on Capitol Hill at full force for anything that has to do related to COVID-19, from the CARES Act to housing affordability to rent relief. We right now are at the front lines working with local government, with national, to ensure that our voice is being heard. One perfect example of that is, typically when we ask people to write members to Congress, we get about 1,300 messages, which is great for somebody our size. But because of the importance of what's going on today and how it affects so many management companies, so many properties, we were able to leverage our network and get out 13,000 letters to Congress. So again, you can see how supporting Click and Lease, supporting your industry also helps us support us on a national level. But in addition to that, you get everything else, the savings and discounts, industry publications from Units Magazine to our e-newsletters, but also education. But I don't want to spend too much time on that because I really want you guys to hear about the benefits of Click and Lease. So I'll turn it over to Clay.
Thank you, Nick. So Click and Lease is a web-based software that enables you to simply and efficiently generate leasing documents that are legally compliant. Click and Lease is trusted by professionals nationwide. So from your leasing managers to legal professionals and your executives, they benefit from this program. I worked at a property before, so I completely understand and know how it is to work at a property. You are constantly busy and you have from your residents coming in and out of the office with questions, concerns, to conducting tours and making sure your numbers are up. So it's definitely a lot of factors that play, when you're working at a property. So I completely understand. And before I did use Click and Lease when I was working at a property, and I can tell you that's one thing that would definitely take the stress away. You don't have to worry about generating a lease because it's so easy and simple. Once the default lease had been set by your person from the corporate office, then your property manager, your leasing agents are able to generate leases and email them to residents with the easiest, few steps here and there, just a few fields that they have to fill out. So I can tell you that it is definitely an easy software to use at a property level. So your leasing agents will benefit from using this. And then your legal professionals, this program benefits them because it meets their needs. They want to ensure that all parties are legally protected, right? And so these forms, the lease, Click and Lease forms, ensure that everyone is protected because we have attorneys in all of the states making sure that we have up-to-date forms. The forms are reviewed and updated. If there's ever a change in law, we are changing the forms to make sure that you're using the up-to-date forms. So it's definitely meeting their legal professionals' needs there. And then also the executives. The executives are benefiting from this because the executives, they want to make sure that all of the forms are standardized across the properties. So if you have multiple properties within the state, even across the country, wherever you go, your properties are using the same forms. Of course, it will be a little different when you have forms that are more specific to the state law. But otherwise, all your forms will look the same. So if you have managers or leasing agents moving from property to property, you don't have to worry about training them again to know how to use the software, to know how to use the program, because they're familiar with that. And your forms are consistent across the board, and your residents are more familiar with those forms. And then NAA Click and Lease by the numbers. We are available in 50 states. So wherever your property is located, I'm sure here specifically in Pennsylvania, we are available there. Our forms are up to date. We have all the addenda that come with the lease that you can also utilize once you have access to the program. And like Nick said earlier, we have over 6 million units participating on this program, and over 3,000 management companies trusting Click and Lease. So we put these numbers here so that you can see that this is a widely used lease across the country, and is trusted by many management companies. We have a few of our top Click and Lease users here. This is to show you that we work with all of your big management companies, your largest management companies to medium size and small, your IROs. They're all using Click and Lease, from your Greystar to Pinnacle, Bozzuto, Peak Campus. So we have student housing lease as well. Companies. So all these management companies are using Click and Lease. They're trusting our program. And so we hope that you see that your peers are using this, and so that it is a program that is very beneficial to a lot of people because of the features and benefits that we offer. We have my colleague, Darren Mann, who works with the larger management companies to ensure that we are managing your portfolio, right? So ensuring that the properties are up to date with their contact information. If you need to order, assisting you with ordering for and adding additional properties to your portfolio. So I work also with the other management companies as well to make sure that we manage your portfolio and assist you with handling all of your leases and making sure that everything is up to date with your property managers at the properties. So Click and Lease features, they are, we have a few features listed here. I will highlight the main ones that I believe a lot of management companies use Click and Lease for, why it is actually valuable and beneficial to a lot of our management companies, our users. Number one, it integrates with your property management software. So if you're using Yardi, Entrata, Appfolio, any of those, any other property management softwares that I've not named, if they're willing and capable of integrating, we will integrate with them. We have an open API, so Blue Moon will go ahead and initiate that integration process and work with your PMS provider to integrate the software. So if once you purchase, you would then work with Blue Moon and your PMS provider to integrate. So everything will sit now within your PMS account. So you don't have to go and log into Blue Moon to generate a lease. You can do that all within your PMS platform. So let's say if you're using Yardi to do rent screening, resident screening, to do for payments or all other things that you're using Yardi for, you can also then automatically generate a lease from there. So it would pre-populate all of your resident or prospect information. And so you don't have to go in and put in your resident names and all of the other information for the resident. Everything will be pre-populated for that unit. And then the software, this is also online and paperless. A lot of management companies have their new initiatives now is to go paperless. And Click and Lease helps you in that initiative because it is a web-based software. So you can access this anywhere, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. This is so essential because everyone is working remote. So this then comes into play where you can access everything online. So your leasing agents can go ahead and generate and send out lease renewals or to prospects within the system, and they sign electronically. And then also another thing that I will point out is that we have a rental application, online rental application, that a lot of people don't know that we do have this. So you can also customize it. We have a payment payment tab that you can customize and have the prospect put in payment options. So like if you're collecting payment for the application fee or for deposit, they can collect that. You can collect the payment there and then process it within your PMS platform. I'll let Nick talk about the new features, just that we talked about the click and comply, and so he can share more information about the litigation defender insurance that we implemented.
Yeah, right before I jumped onto that, there was a question from Mike S. on whether it integrates with NTN also. As long as NTN is willing to work with, since we have an open source API, I will double check because I think it's the first time I'm hearing of the NTN system. But like I said, 99.9% of the people we integrate with, as long as they allow integration. So I'll make a note to double check on NTN, but you know, from the surface, I'm gonna say yes. The new features, obviously we covered click and comply. And one of the newest features that we had as part of our gold standard is our litigation defender insurance. And what this insurance basically is to let all management companies, all properties know that we stand behind our lease. So should anything arise out of language written in our lease, we will stand by that. We as a company have already paid the premium for this insurance. So in any case if something happens, all you would have to do is alert your manager, have that manager alert your lawyer or whoever, you know, your in-house counsel, and then they would talk through us and we can help you guys file a claim. So we make it very easy. We make it, you know, so people can rely on our lease should anything happen. They would just have to contact us. So a question I always say is, if you're currently using a lease that is not the NAA Click and Lease program, see if they actually stand behind the lease, see if they provide this type of insurance, and kind of give everybody that peace of mind. And again, we click and comply. We are excited to launch this out. If you want to get a demo with us, just let me know, let PAA know, and we'll be happy to reach out.
Thank you, Nick. So these are the benefits of Click and Lease, legally compliant forms. And we have up-to-date forms to make sure that we are meeting state laws and industry regulations. And so with the litigation defender insurance that Nick just mentioned, this ensures that you can rest assured that rely and depend on Click and Lease, that we are making sure that we are meeting the state laws. And then compatibility, I already spoke about that. This is, it's compatible with any property management software, and we'll definitely check on that PMS provider. But as long as that the PMS is willing and capable of integrating, we will integrate with anyone. And then the reducing risk, you can, you know, your legal professionals can rest assured that, that we have up-to-date forms, that we are mitigating or minimizing your risk when using Click and Lease. Customizable forms, this is also very important. When I work with management companies or different prospects, they often ask me, can we use our own forms? If we have, say, a tanning bed, we don't have a tanning addendum. But if you have a form that's more specific to your property, yes, you can definitely add that custom form. You would work directly with Blue Moon, with their custom department to add that form to your library. So when you go to select your forms, it is easily accessible and you can select it and add it to your packet. Power of associations. You have state, local, and national associations behind this lease. And as you saw earlier, many 3,000 and plus management companies trusting this program. And then you have also unlimited access. You have access to all of the forms. So when you purchase Click and Lease package, you will get access to the apartment lease, as well as all the addenda that comes with the lease in that specific state. So you can pick and choose which one you want to use. You also have unlimited space, so you can use that storage space for you to save all your resident information. And especially during this time is so important because you're not in the office to print out leases or, save all those residence documents, you can save them all within that software, within your package when you purchase it.
One thing I want to make sure that we cover is, I know a lot of people, Click and Lease has been around for a little bit over a decade now, to understand that we are no longer a pay-per-click model. We are a subscription model. So you no longer have to pay per lease that you print out. You can print out, to what Quay said earlier, as many as you want. So just so everybody knows, this is a subscription model.
Yes, thank you. And I was going to mention that, I have that note down there. But yeah, like Nick said, a lot of people still think that it is pay-per-click, but it's no longer pay-per-click. And so when I was using it, when I was at the property, it used to be pay-per-clicks. And there was always that worry that if I make a mistake and then I have to redo it, it's going to cost us. So now you can, don't have to worry about that. You can generate as many leases as you want, print as many leases as you want without any extra fees. So we have a conventional lease, and that is your typical apartment lease. And then student housing lease, that is similar to the conventional lease, but the language is more specific to student housing. We have individual liability. So since for the student housing, you are leasing by the bed. So the lease is more specific to the bed rather than the unit. You have also shared housing notice and personalized notice. We have a lot of properties, a lot of student housing properties using that lease now. So if you have a student housing property, you can definitely use a student lease. You have access to that as well as a conventional lease. And then we also have a single family lease that we're currently still working on. It will be out soon. And we have IROs with single family homes that are on the lease right now, but they're using the conventional lease, and you can always move over then to the single family lease once we have it out. Legally compliant. This is the main reason why a lot of management companies are using this program. We have 60 plus forms per state, many locality-based forms. So again, like I said, once you purchase the Click and Lease program, you have access to all those forms. So you can pick and choose which addenda you want to use. We review all the forms every year. Some states even are reviewed multiple times because of the constant changes that are going on in the multifamily industry. Once there's a change, our attorneys review those forms. They make the updates, and then we notify all our users that there's a change and when it will be updated in the forms, when they will go live. There are state-specific legal webinars. So those webinars are available to our users. Once you have access to the program, you would have access to those legal webinars that you can share with your teams. Even with your leasing agents also will have access to this. And this is very beneficial because, being at a property as a leasing agent before, you want to be in the know. You want to know the changes. You want to know what's going on in the industry, and these definitely help and give that knowledge to your teams that they need. And then many more compliance resources that we are working on now that will be available to our members as well as our users on the Click and Lease.
And I want to make sure we leave questions.
Okay.
So 2 things really quick. Will you just highlight the other ones and I'll take it or for the next page?
Sure. So real quick, these are the sample NAA Addenda. The presentation can be available to you after this, so you can take a look, but it's also available on bluemoonforms.com for you to have access to all of the forms we have available. But you can definitely reach out to me, and I'll be sure to provide all the information that you need.
Right, so just on that, if you have properties in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, there's local forms that you can check out on bluemoonforms.com for the addenda, so you can take a look at those as well.
Okay. So I just skipped the pricing slide because you can always contact me and I'll provide you pricing, provide you estimate more specific to your properties. But I just wanted to highlight quickly this slide and why Click and Lease is so important right now during this COVID-19 pandemic. We have 2 forms that we have already created and available to our users and all our members. The 2 forms are Notice of Temporary Waiver of Late Fees and Payment Plan Agreement. This is for your residents who have been impacted by this pandemic. And so the forms are available to you. You can utilize those forms. And then NAA Click and Lease for your remote staff. The reason why it's important, again, like I said earlier, it's because it's online and paperless. You can access it anywhere. You have the e-signature capability and the rental application customizable database. You can save all of your residents' information there. And the last thing, speed of rollout. You contact me today, say you are interested, you like everything that I have said, I could definitely get you signed up by tomorrow. So it takes less than 24 hours to get access. So from the time that you let me know that you're interested, you provide me with your property information for that estimate, we can definitely get you signed up and set up so that your teams are able to efficiently operate your property. Thank you for your time. Let us know if you have any questions.
And just a reminder, to be on the Click and Lease, you do have to be a member of Pennsylvania Apartment Association and National Apartment Association. So I'm just going to go ahead and share Amy and Erica's information here if you want to contact us as well.
Hey everyone, it's Amy again. I wanted to share an example of Click and Lease here locally. So last year there was a new I want to say order mandate that was introduced in the city of Pittsburgh regarding trash removal. And what happened is a lot of the property managers in the Pittsburgh area had contacted PAA to ask them if there was some type of form that could be created through Click and Lease that other Pittsburgh landlords could use so that this form would be readily available through Click and Lease. And I will tell you that, NAA did provide that form and it was accessible for the area to use. So it's just those types of things that NAA can do, even from an area perspective. They can help with those forms too. It's not just site specific either.
No, and that's absolutely right. We are here to work with the property managers, find the best solution, and make sure that it's not only convenient for you, but that other people that aren't thinking about it, we make those solutions available to them as well. So at this time, I know we only have a couple minutes left, but if anybody has any pressing questions, probably about Click and Lease, not about my life. I know we're all here to hear that. Feel free to reach out or just join or put something, raise your hand, or just put something in the chat.
Just as an announcement too, PAA will provide this this actual webinar to those who attended the call. And if you do want to forward this information to an owner or to an asset manager, we can also help with that as well.
Perfect. And again, we want to thank PAA for allowing us this opportunity to talk more about Click and Lease and introduce our new program, Click and Comply. I think at a national level, we really appreciate PAA. And to kind of what Amy said, once you join PAA, you're going to be able to take advantage of either of these programs, but then you also become a member of our national organization.
Thank you everybody for your time. Thank you NAA for assisting us with rolling out the new program and then giving us a refresher on Click and Lease. We do appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone and have a great day. Stay safe and stay healthy.